Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationship Advice and it's by user ThrowArrayEverythingin. My husband, male 39, has thrown me, female 27, under the bus to his family with his silence and complete lack of a spine. How do I salvage this? My husband Owen and I have been trying for a baby for years with no luck. I would be happy to adopt, but Owen's family is against it and has influenced my husband to also be against it. After our second year of trying, I begged my husband to go with me to get a checkup, to see if either of us or both of us were infertile. He was strongly opposed to this as all the men in his family were extremely fertile, but eventually he gave in, and it turns out his sperm count was extremely low. He was heartbroken, as was I, and we both got therapy. After a year of no longer trying, I got pregnant but lost the baby, and we were devastated. Owen blamed himself and proposed that we start the process of getting into a family planning center for a sperm donor, which I agreed to. He asked me not to tell either of our families or our friends about this, and I agreed because I would never want to emasculate him. With the help of our donor, I was able to become pregnant successfully, and we had our little girl last year. She is healthy and progressing amazingly, and I thank God for her every day. I kept my promise and never told anyone. However, Owen is struggling with connecting with our little girl. Here is where the trouble begins. Last month, he went out of town with his brothers for their friend's bachelor party. While on the trip, Owen told his brothers about our infertility issues and that our baby wasn't biologically his. One of his brothers must have told his wife, who told my husband's mother. I don't know why she would tell my husband's mother, except that she has never liked me. Their mother then came to our house and called me a lying floozy and tried to get my husband to leave her. He just stood there silent. I told her that it was Owen's decision not to tell anyone, and she asked him if this was true. Again, he was silent, which his mother took as me being a liar. She then went to our nursery and started taking back everything she'd ever given us for the baby. I told her I didn't care about it and that I made more than enough to buy everything she gave us myself and of better quality. This set her off, and she called my baby a filthy bastard. When she said that, I did something I know was harsh, but I believe she deserved it. I physically pushed her out the door. I didn't hit her, but I did put my hands on her shoulder, pushing her out the door, and threw all of her crappy things out with her. After spirits calmed down, I realized my husband said nothing when his mother was berating me, calling me a liar, and when she called our child a filthy bastard. So I asked him why he was silent. He said he wasn't raised to be disrespectful the way I was, and that his mother hadn't said anything that wasn't true. She was just hurtful with what she'd said, and that we should let it go and wait for his mother to forgive us. I told him that I would never let it go, that his mother and anyone who agreed with her were not welcomed in our home, and that I don't need to be forgiven when I've done nothing wrong. He then said the house was his, and as the head of the family, it was his decision. I said fine, but why did he allow her to call me a liar and a floozy? Those things are not true, and our child, no child really, should be called a bastard. He just repeated he would not argue with his mother. After that, I stopped speaking to him, started gathering up my daughter's things and purse, and walked out the door with her. He tried to stop me and told me I couldn't take his daughter anywhere without him, and I lost the little bit of composure I had left. I told him she wasn't his daughter. He'd proved he didn't see her as his daughter when he allowed his mother to call her a filthy bastard and told him she wasn't his. He broke down into tears and begged me to come back inside, but at that time, I felt nothing. He just looked pathetic to me. I've taken my baby with me and gone back home to my parents and finally told my family the truth, which feels so good. They are completely in support of my decision and are not allowing my spineless husband anywhere near us, as he still refuses to apologize to me or set the record straight with his family. However, I told the sister-in-law that I was close to the truth, and she told the rest of his family. Half of his family is understanding, while the other half is on his mother's side, but they are all mad at my husband. I need time to cool down, but I know eventually my husband and I need to figure our marriage out. One thing is for certain, I will not return to his house until he apologizes to me and promises to protect me and his daughter fiercely. I want to see this in action, starting with him telling his mother that what she did was wrong and banning her from coming to see us until she asks for my forgiveness. We were also planning on having more children as he wants a big family, but that is off the table as I don't believe he is ready and we both need to get back into therapy. Oh wow, Opie, you're absolutely right. Your husband failed you and your daughter. I'm sure we can blame a lot of this thought process on his crappy mother and the family, but at the end of the day, he is a 39-year-old man who is too afraid to contradict mommy when she's clearly doing something she shouldn't do, like insulting his wife and child in their own home. It shouldn't have been you who pushed her out the door, and I think you should have done a lot more than that after she called your daughter a filthy bastard. I would not have let that fly. But he's the one who should have told her to shut the F up and get out of his house, and that she is not welcomed until she apologizes to you and your daughter for everything she said and did. OP, your question is, how do I salvage this? And to that I say, there's nothing you need to salvage. This is on him. If he can't man up and do it, that's it. You clearly have a spine and maybe your husband should take a page from your book. But until that happens, there's nothing to salvage here. At least, I don't see it. And what do you guys think about OP's situation? What would you do if you were in her shoes? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Top Put 1541 says, quote, "He broke down in tears and begged me," end quote. Note that your husband only melted down once he had skin in the game. When it was his wife and his daughter being unfairly and inaccurately slandered, he had no problem staying silent and refusing to speak the truth. I don't know how you could possibly respect or trust him again. He's shown you how weak and selfish he is. His refusal to apologize or actually set the record straight shows he has no personal integrity and no idea of personal accountability. This is a marriage killer in my opinion. You and your daughter don't need someone so icky in your lives. Santa's I Know Elf says, "You are 12 years younger than him and still more mature than him. Think on whether it's actually worth it for you here. He's not going to turn 40 and start being a real man if he hasn't yet. Hell, the age gap alone is proof positive that he doesn't understand mutual respect and needs the extra leverage." Zimagotchi says, "Wow, he sucks. I usually am one of the Redditors who tries hard to understand the other person's side of the dispute, and in this one, while I can understand it, I also have no respect for it at all. All I can do for you is to prepare you that once he breaks about this and actually throws all in with either you or his mother, he's going to tell a bunch of lies about the other one. I feel like he's probably going to go with his mom here and tell her that you pushed him into the artificial insemination. It sucks, but from what I'm hearing about him, I bet it's what ends up happening." Additional information from OP's comments. I am beginning to conclude he does not love me enough to change or protect us. I will most certainly never allow my baby to be abused verbally or physically, and his redeeming qualities are few. When he told me it was his house and not our house, it hurt me deeply. He told me that when we got married, he bought our house for me and that it would always be our house. Now it feels like my whole world was ripped out from under me, but I understand people are allowed to take back their promises. I will be creating my own home that can never be taken away from me. I cannot have this happen again. My family is very supportive. They are helping me find new housing and furnishings. I loved him. Why else would I have done everything I did for him? He begged me to have this child, and then he allowed his mother to assault me in his home verbally. I do not love him anymore because he has made his decision clear. I just never prepared to be a single mother, and I know he will fight me every step of the way. And regarding our pregnancy, a healthy donor was less expensive and had a higher chance of success than IVF. We've had many friends who did IVF and spent hundreds of thousands of dollars only to have no results and or more miscarriages. We explored all our options thoroughly and he chose this one. Alright, well, the community agrees. There's basically nothing to salvage here, and apparently OP thinks exactly that same way and is going to start her own home. So now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. But before that, if you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to leave a like and of course a comment, because that always helps engagement, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Now, let's move on with that update. I want to start by thanking those who were so kind. Your words of encouragement and advice were greatly appreciated. Here is my update. Apparently, after I left my husband's house, my mother-in-law, brother-in-law, and sister-in-law accused me of cheating. I'd already begun speaking with a lawyer after Owen refused to tell the truth to his family, but knowing he let them tell other people I cheated is like getting punched in the chest. So, I'm now renting a nice 2-bedroom apartment, and my siblings and their partners have helped me furnish it, and my top priority is ensuring my baby has everything she needs. Currently, I'm working to create a cozy nursery for her and hiring a nanny. Facing the end of my marriage is terrifying, but I'm learning to accept my new reality. When I notified Owen I was going to file for divorce, he started calling and messaging non-stop. His messages range from begging me to come home, telling me he will tell the truth and get therapy again, begging to see our baby, and then threatening to drag me home. I told him that divorce was happening whether he liked it or not because he failed as a husband and failed even worse as a parent. He then sent photos and videos of my things in the garbage and him and my brother-in-law trashing the nursery. His exact words were, "I don't need it anymore." In the most disturbing video, he threw our baby's car seat in a dumpster. I do not recognize him or his behavior anymore. He claims to miss his daughter and me, but is trying to make his behavior my fault for not doing what I'm told. This is not the man I agreed to marry. The man I married was smart, kind, gentle, thoughtful, and funny. But this vileness from him was waiting for me the moment I didn't obey and take the disrespect from his family to save him from the humiliation of his infertility. Before the fallout with his mother, he was nothing like this. It's certainly not an excuse, but I believe it all centered on him feeling humiliated by his family. I just can't believe he couldn't at least stand up to his family for me and our baby, the one thing he said he would die for. I am not blocking Owen, as my lawyer said to email everything he says to me to him, but the constant threatening messages make me scared to leave my home. Owen knows where I work and has repeatedly told me he will drag us back if that's what it takes and that I'm making him do this. That's weak. My lawyer and I are working on a restraining order, but every woman who was attacked by her ex-husband knows restraining orders don't keep you safe. However, things took a turn when my father-in-law showed up on my parents' doorstep, and it's the reason I decided to update. My father-in-law asked to speak with me. My parents told him they would call me and ask, but if I said no, then that was final, and he would not be welcomed back. I only agreed to speak to father-in-law because he told my parents he was there to apologize for his family and to set the record straight. My dad called me as my father-in-law was blocked from calling me, and when I picked up my father-in-law, he immediately apologized for his wife's behavior. He wanted to hear my side of the story as he did not believe I cheated. I thanked him. I was never close to father-in-law, but we've always been civil, and let him know that, of course, I did not cheat. I told him of his son's infertility and that Owen proposed we get a donor. I told him very clearly it was his son's decision and that because my father-in-law and his family put blood as the only valid form of family, my husband made me lie so our child would be treated equally. After I finished, my father-in-law seemed stunned. He was quiet for a while and then asked if his wife and son could come over and see my daughter in person as they missed us and were ready to be a family again, but I told him no. Father-in-law then asked if there was anything Owen could do to fix the marriage, and I told him no. Father-in-law tried to say I was being unfair, but my dad stepped in and said father-in-law was overstaying his welcome. Before I hung up, I told father-in-law that his son was sending me abusive messages daily, and if he truly was sorry, then he should make his son stop. Then I hung up. My parents said my father-in-law was irritated that I did not respectfully said goodbye or give Owen a chance to save his marriage, but left with little fuss after my parents laid into him about raising his swine of a son to threaten his wife and child. Telling his father must have worked because I haven't gotten a single message from Owen since then. I do not want anything from my soon-to-be ex-husband. Not child support, not alimony, not the house or any of his other assets. I just need him to agree to the divorce and give up his parental rights so my little girl can grow up with a family who loves her unconditionally. I have a good degree and a great job. My child and I will be fine without him. Owen's lawyer has made it clear they're going to fight us for full custody, and my soon-to-be ex has significantly more money than me, but my lawyer is confident in our case, and I trust him. Today, my mother-in-law has been trying to contact me as she wants to be in my daughter's life and is saying she is ready to accept her as she is. As if my daughter needs to be accepted by her. If it's up to me, their whole family will never see us again. Well, OP, it sucks. I can't say it's a happy update, of course, because, well, your husband failed to protect his family. That, of course, being you and your daughter. But you seem to be doing okay and have a firm grasp on what you need to do and how to get there. So here's wishing you the best in the future. Hopefully the divorce proceedings aren't as painful as they apparently could be. Take care, OP, and thank you for sharing. And now, let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance, and it's by user HonestStar7348. Management says I'm losing my unused vacation days because of a new unpublished handbook rule. I worked for a company with great pay and benefits, one of which was vacation days. I worked there for years without any performance or attendance issues. I was also an employee who would not work overtime. I give 100% while I'm there. That's all I have to offer. Other than that, no issues. Each year, I'd pre-planned my vacation days. We had to put our plans on a calendar for approval, and I wanted to receive my approval before confirming my plans, so I did everything as early as possible. I had no vacation request problems for years and did not hear of other employees having issues with their vacation time or pay. Then, one year, all of a sudden, after using all but 4 of my vacation days, management said I had no additional paid vacation time. I reviewed our online handbook, gathered my requests and approved time off, and checked my check stubs to verify the paid vacation days I'd taken thus far. I presented everything to management for research. My direct manager said he checked and I didn't have 4 additional vacation days. That wasn't good enough, so I asked him to forward it to his manager. His manager said the same thing. That wasn't good enough. Eventually, my concerns reached the center manager. The center manager called me into a meeting. I again presented my findings, showing him I had 4 unused vacation days. He then began discussing changes to our vacation policy while making eye contact and smiling. He turned his computer around to show me the new handbook they constructed, reflecting the new vacation policy. Wait a minute, what? There is an online employee handbook, yet I'm supposed to go by a new handbook that is not known to employees? Make that make sense. I said politely, okay, and walked out. I removed my 4 days from the vacation calendar. I then began chatting with other employees to see the number of days they had taken for that year and the number of days they might have left. Conversations like, how was your vacation? How long did you stay? Are you choosing a different place to spend the rest of your vacation days? Asking these and related questions allowed me to calculate the number of vacation days they used or had remaining. I did not find one other employee having my issue with vacation time. I waited a couple of months and filed a lawsuit while working there. Other employees did not know about my lawsuit, at least not from me, but I'm sure management knew. The lawsuit discovery process revealed an email chain. The email chain showed the center manager directly asking human resources about my 4 unused vacation days, and human resources confirming I had 4 unused vacation days. The center manager used a fictitious new handbook to cover his and other management actions, denying my unused vacation time. Shortly after that, we settled and they paid thousands for 4 unused vacation days. I had to resign, of course, and the center manager and other management lost their positions, retired, or quit. All I wanted was my unused paid vacation time, but what I received was much more. Well, OP, it sounds like that center manager and other management were forced to take some unpaid time off. Thanks for sharing, OP. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out, so here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later, and also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.